Call is now being recorded.
Hi, this is Christian Biru, and today I have a special guest. Her name is Gail, and she had strabismus, but she recovered, and today she's going to be telling us how that happened. So Gail, how did you get strabismus? Like, were you born with it, or did something happen? Like, where did it start?
I was born with it, and I don't know if it was diagnosed when I was born, but nothing was done until I was at that critical age of, I think it was about 7 or 8 when I started vision therapy.
Oh, so you did do vision therapy.
I
Okay.
did,
So,
and I actually can't remember if my parents, what I remember was they gave me a choice because we were living in Philadelphia at the time, and we had Will's Eye Institute right there, and I can't remember if my parents gave me a choice or if they just asked me what I preferred and they made the decision, but I hope they didn't let a 7-year-old decide, because a 7-year-old would never opt for surgery. And I've always wondered what would have happened if I'd had surgery back then, but we did do vision therapy. I did it for, at least a few months, probably a couple of years.
okay, and do you know what type of strabismus you had?
I can't remember the technical term for it, but both eyes turned inward, and my left eye turned inward more. And I had the unusual ability, apparently, according to my vision therapist, that I could alternate eyes. I could look with the right eye and let the left eye turn in, or I could look with the left eye and let the right eye turn in.
That one is pretty tough. I know, because I've had something like that, alternating, and that makes the world kind of chaotic. And you don't even realize, because you don't even know how
It
the world
does,
would
and
look like normally.
it's called visual confusion, and I realized it later. But I mean, I had the vision therapy, it didn't work, and so I adapted. And, I adapted to this condition called visual confusion, and I always had that, but I didn't even know what it was until I didn't have it anymore, or what the world would be like without it.
Is that what the experts called it? Visual confusion?
Yep. Mhm. And it means you
Okay.
don't necessarily see 2 of everything, but you don't see 1 of everything either.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I've heard that term, but that makes a lot of sense. Visual confusion. I remember an optometrist was examining me once, because I also have strabismus, and he's like, "Wow, I've never seen this before. It's like you're in limbo with your vision. Like you're seeing through one eye, then the other."
Yep.
So,
Yes.
so what type of vision therapy?
Well, actually, I'll back up a second. I know I was diagnosed with amblyopia too, which means that the part of the brain in the occipital lobe that receives the visual information doesn't know how to process it, because the signal has been cut off for so long. And that's a negative indicator that I could ever have binocular vision, so I just figured, okay, I'm stuck with this. And I was so young, I don't know what kind of visual therapy I had. I remember there was some instrument with, colored lights that he would use, and he would have me do exercises with my eyes and all kinds of stuff. But again, it was when I was pretty young, so I don't remember a whole lot. But I do remember it didn't really help me very much.
Okay, because there's different types and quality in vision therapy. So there's orthoptics, which is pretty basic vision therapy. I think it's not even appropriate to call it vision therapy, because it's just eye exercises without it's like eye exercises that don't fall within the whole neuroscience approach to vision therapy. And then there's the whole COVD group of people who their stuff is really, like, how should I call it? It's really robust. Like there's a lot of research backing it, and a lot of there's 2 different fields of approaching it. So I don't know which one you went to.
This is back in 1970, so I have to assume that it was probably a pretty general approach. but that I could be wrong.
All right. Okay. I guess we'll pass over that then. So what happened after? Like nothing happened with the vision therapy. Did it make it worse, or what? Saying?
No, it didn't make it worse. But it didn't make it better. So I adapted. I always felt, weird, and I was very shy, and I think that's one reason why I was very shy in elementary school. And of course, some kids made fun of me, which didn't help, and my sister was the academic superstar, and everybody was rich in my school, and we weren't rich, and it was just, school was not pleasant. And then when I got older, I adapted by, learning how to connect with people with my personality and, conversational skills and my sparkling personality and all that other stuff. I never felt comfortable, flirting or meeting new people. Like I knew they didn't know where to look, which eye should I look at. But I realized that the people who loved me kind of didn't see it after a while, and that was good to know. But meeting new people and, driving was another thing that I actually participated in a research study at one point as an adult at Cornell, and I had kind of a retinal scan that showed that because of this condition, I had the neurons that went from my eyes to my brain, there were fewer of them than there should be, and there were fewer connections than there should be. And he said that probably you process visual information more slowly. And I later had that confirmed by taking a memory test, which is the same as the IQ test. I can talk about that a little bit if you like. That was pretty interesting.
Which part you want to elaborate on, the memory test?
Yeah, the IQ test. At one point, I was so stressed, and I had some depression going on because of a divorce, and I was worried about my memory, and so I went to see a doctor about to have some tests about my memory, and it turns out that the memory tests are exactly the same as the official IQ tests, which I think is they did a Stanford Binet. And I found out that I didn't have a problem with my memory, which was great to know, but my verbal IQ was like 2 standard deviations above normal. I'd always been a smart kid, but my visual/performance IQ score was 100, which was average. And that in and of itself, a difference between the 2 scores of 2 standard deviations or more indicated a learning disability, even though my visual performance score was average. So I had an undiagnosed visual learning disability for my life, and no one had dealt with it. Which, looking back, yeah. I thought, I wish my parents had been more, a little more on the ball with this stuff, because I never liked to read. It always made my eye muscles tired to read. And I remember in 5th grade, we had this book report assignment. We had to get 13 book reports done by a certain time, and I'd done like 1.5, and my teacher, would have these times with me after school, and I thought, oh God, this is pointless, and he was thinking it was some sort of behavioral or emotional problem, and I'm like, are you kidding me? And it's just they didn't really get the connection between my eye problem and my supposed dislike for reading.
So that's interesting though, so with the verbal you scored really high, correct?
Yep. In the very gifted range.
How did they test it though? How did they test it?
Oh, it was
was it written test or was it out loud? Or
all kinds of things. I mean, the test is very comprehensive. It takes about 3 hours. It's the visual performance stuff is looking at pictures. Some of it's timed, some of it's not timed. I did particularly poorly on the visual exercises that were timed. In other words, it takes me longer to process complex visual information. For example, when I'm driving on a highway, I live in a big city, and when I drive on a highway, I don't like to do like the downtown highway stuff because I can't, see the signs, and process the information fast enough, as fast as everybody's driving in this town. So I found the back routes to everything. I can get to the airport in the same amount of time using the back roads. I've always taken the back roads, and like everybody else with strabismus who drives, I never pull completely into a parking space because I don't have depth perception, or I didn't. And there were these just little ways that I compensated, but I still drove. And some people with strabismus just don't drive, which I found out later. So I was very lucky that I was able to, compensate enough to drive and compensate enough to make friends and, have boyfriends and all that stuff. But I still felt weird. I felt like there was something just weird about me that would never go away. But I kind of pushed it way down because I thought there was nothing that could be done to help.
So you didn't know about surgery?
I knew about the surgery, and I guess I just didn't even reassess it until I was an adult. And I really don't know why. I guess I figured I'd had this vision therapy and it didn't work. I did a consult, back in the late 90s with this guy who eventually did my surgery, and, I thought it was too risky. He said there was a risk that, that I would not gain binocular vision, that my vision could actually get worse, and I thought, oh, forget it, I'm fine. But then, right before my divorce, while I still had my good insurance, and right when I was becoming a therapist, I thought I'd do another consult with this guy because, I might as well get the surgery done if it's doable before I lose my good insurance. And I had noticed for a few years that if I sort of took my hands and squeezed my eyes together, that I could see 3D. And I told this guy that, and he's like, well, there's a good chance that you'll have 3D vision after this surgery. And so I went ahead and did it.
So you would push your eyes together?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I take each hand and, put it on the side of my eye because my eyes turned outward. And if, I basically pushed my eyes, together, that I could see 3D. So the amblyopia thing, I kind of was either was crap or was inaccurate. My brain could clearly process signals from eyes that were properly aligned.
That would be an interesting screen for people to decide whether surgery is a viable option. We could even have you do a video. This is how you do it, and you smash your eye.
Right. I know, and I just kind of figured that out by myself, and I'm like, hold on a second.
Okay. Also, on the flip side, that also means that you're a good candidate, or that you're a potentially good candidate for vision therapy, because some people abandon vision therapy because they might not ever gain the whole stereopsis, full binocular vision. So, okay, that's actually really interesting. So what happened? You basically spent most of your life compensating for this disorder, and eventually with the whole new job and the insurance and the divorce, and that pushed you towards going for the surgery.
And particularly because I was training to become a therapist. I'd been a social worker for 10 years, but what I really wanted to do was therapy, and I'd begun kind of a residency in order to become a therapist, which I'm finishing up this year. I thought, I want to look my clients in the eyes. I don't want them to feel weird. And that's one of the reasons that pushed me to do it.
Okay, and so how long ago was the surgery?
Surgery happened in November of 2013.
Okay,
so
you've been
2.5 years ago.
2 years.
Yeah.
And you're okay. So let's talk about that. So you got the surgery, and once you went through the whole recovery period, what did you notice? How was it?
Well, the surgery itself was a breeze. I needed a friend to drive me home, because I would have a patch on at least one eye, and I'd be groggy from the meds, and the whole